I almost didn't go. That's the part one keep coming back to. If I had trusted my instincts, if I had turned off my phone and stayed home like I wanted to, none of this would have happened. But my sister has a talent for wearing people down, and after 3 months of listening to her insist that I needed to get back out there, I finally agreed to one blind date. One dinner, I told her. That's it. She sounded far too pleased with herself. You'll thank me. I doubted that. The restaurant she picked was downtown, one of those places with dim lighting and menus that don't list prices online. The kind of place that makes you question your entire wardrobe. I stood in front of my closet longer than I'd like to admit, trying to decide between looking like I was trying too hard or not trying at all. I settled somewhere in the middle, a clean button-down, dark jeans, shoes that still shined if the light hit them right. The whole drive there, I rehearsed small talk in my head. What do you do? Where are you from? Do you like your job? That last question almost made me laugh. I did like my job. I just didn't like the constant pressure that came with it. Working in operations at a fast-growing tech company meant long hours, tight deadlines, and leadership that demanded excellence. Leadership specifically meant her, Rebecca Sterling, founder, the woman whose name sat at the top of every company-wide email. Calm, sharp, impossible to read. I'd only spoken to her directly a handful of times, and each time felt like standing in front of a spotlight. Not because she was cruel. She wasn't. She was just precise. She noticed everything. I preferred to stay invisible. The hostess led me to a small table near the window and told me my date would be there shortly. I checked my phone. A text from my sister. Her name is Rebecca. You'll like her. Rebecca. I didn't think much of it. It's a common enough name. I set my phone face down on the table and tried to calm the nervous energy building in my chest at exactly 7 o'clock. The front door opened and I looked up out of habit, and my stomach dropped. She stepped inside, shaking off the cool evening air. Dark hair pulled back loosely, a navy dress instead of her usual tailored suits. No laptop bag, no assistant, just her. Rebecca Sterling. MYCO. For a second, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. Maybe she was meeting investors. Maybe she was just picking up takeout. Maybe the hostess walked straight to her and asked, "Table for Connor?" Rebecca nodded. Time slowed in a way that didn't feel real. The hostess turned and gestured toward me. Rebecca's eyes followed her hand. They landed on me. Recognition flashed across her face, followed quickly by something else. Surprise. Then disbelief. I stood halfway, unsure if I was supposed to wave or apologize or disappear. "You have got to be kidding me," she said quietly as she reached the table. "I was just thinking the same thing," I replied. For a moment, neither of us moved. The air felt tight, like we were standing in the middle of an office meeting instead of a candlelit restaurant. "You're Connor," she said slowly. Unfortunately, a corner of her mouth twitched, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to smile. "My friend set this up," she said. "Lauren, my sister," I answered. She wouldn't give me a last name. Rebecca let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh. Of course she didn't. The waiter appeared before we could say anything else and asked if we'd like drinks. "Water," Rebecca said automatically, then paused. "Actually, wine. Red." "I'll have a beer," I added quickly. "Whatever's easiest." When the waiter left, Silence settled over the table. Not hostile, just heavy. "We can leave," I offered. "No one has to know." Rebecca studied me for a long second. "If we leave at the same time, someone might notice, right? And if we stay," she continued, "it's just dinner. Just dinner." I nodded. 1 hour. 1 hour. She agreed. We opened our menus like strangers forced into polite conversation at a wedding. I couldn't focus on a single word. My mind kept replaying every interaction we'd ever had at work. Every meeting where I'd avoided eye contact. Every email I'd rewritten 3 times before sending. "I had no idea," she said finally. "Me neither." She folded her hands neatly on the table. Even outside the office, she carried herself with that same steady composure. "This is unexpected. That's one way to put it." Our drinks arrived. She took a small sip of wine. I nearly drained half my glass in one go. "You look different," I blurted before I could stop myself. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. "Different good or different concerning?" "Different relaxed," I clarified. "Not in a bad way." She considered that. "You look less terrified than you do in meetings." I choked on my drink. "I'm not terrified." She tilted her head. "You never speak unless you absolutely have to. And when you do, you sound like you're bracing for impact." Hier. "You notice that?" "I notice everything," she said simply. That didn't surprise me. Dinner arrived, and at first, conversation stayed safely on neutral ground. Traffic, the restaurant, the fact that blind dates should come with warning labels. But somewhere between the appetizers and the main course, something shifted. "So," she said, setting down her fork, "why did you say yes to the date?" She nodded. I thought about it. Honestly, I was tired of being the only single person at family gatherings, and my sister wouldn't stop bringing it up. A faint smile crossed her face. Persistent siblings are a universal problem. My friend thinks I work too much," she said. "She believes I need balance." "Do you?" She looked down at her glass. "Probably." That was the first time she sounded unsure of herself. I found myself relaxing without meaning to. Outside the office, without the polished conference table between us, she seemed human. Not just the woman who approved budgets and led quarterly reviews. "I didn't expect this," I admitted. "Neither did I," she said. "But we're already here, so we stayed." The hour we agreed on passed without either of us mentioning it. We talked about where we grew up, the small town she left at 18, the first job I took after college that taught me more about failure than success. We laughed about bad dates from the past. At one point, she leaned back in her chair and said, "You're not what I expected." "That sounds ominous." "It's not," she assured me. "At work, you're quiet, careful. I assumed you preferred to stay in the background." "I do," I said honestly. "And yet," she continued, "you teach coding at a community center on weekends." I blinked. "How do you know that?" "It was in your employee profile," she said. "I read those." Of course she did. "They needed volunteers," I explained. And I remember what it felt like not having access to that kind of support. Her expression softened. "I grew up without much access either. That's part of why I started the company. Opportunity shouldn't depend on where you're born." We held each other's gaze for a moment longer than necessary. The waiter cleared our plates and asked about dessert. I started to decline, but Rebecca surprised me. "Chocolate cake," she said. "2 forks." I smiled. Reckless. Completely. By the time we stepped outside into the cool night air, the awkwardness had faded into something quieter, something thoughtful. "This is complicated," she said. "It doesn't have to be," I replied, though I wasn't sure I believed that. She hesitated. "Company policy requires disclosure of relationships where there's a power imbalance, right? And there is one," she added gently. I appreciated that she didn't pretend otherwise. "We could pretend this never happened," I offered. "Could we?" I didn't answer. She stepped closer, just enough that I could smell her perfume. Subtle, clean, nothing like the sharp professionalism she carried at work. "Let's think about it," she said. "No decisions tonight." "Okay." She walked to her car, then paused and looked back. "Good night, Connor." "Good night, Rebecca." Monday morning felt surreal in the office lobby. She was back in her tailored suit, expression composed. If anyone looked at us, they'd see nothing unusual, just CEO and employee. But when our eyes met briefly near the elevators, something unspoken passed between us. The meeting that morning was routine. Updates, deadlines, strategy. When she asked for feedback, my hand rose before I could stop it. "I think the rollout timeline is too aggressive," I said. "We'll need additional support." The room went quiet. Speaking up wasn't my habit. Rebecca regarded me carefully. Then she nodded. "That's a fair point. Let's revisit the staffing plan. No edge, no embarrassment, just acknowledgement." Afterward, my coworker nudged me. "Look at you challenging the boss." I shrugged. "Just doing my job." But something had changed. A week later, I ran into her at the community center. She was there for a board meeting, reviewing new equipment donations. The kids barely noticed her at first. They were too busy arguing about code errors and snack breaks. But when she knelt beside one of them to help fix a problem, her face lit up in a way I'd never seen in the office and in the hallway afterward. She said, "This feels different from work." "It is," I said. "No quarterly targets here." She laughed softly. "I've been thinking," she added, "about whether we let fear decide for us." I swallowed. And I don't want it to." We agreed to take it slow, transparent, careful. We informed HR, signed paperwork, adjusted reporting structures so I no longer fell directly under her oversight. There were whispers at first, curiosity, speculation, but work continued. Projects moved forward. Outside the office, we built something steady. Coffee on quiet mornings, walks along the lake, long conversations about ambition and doubt and the strange loneliness that comes with leadership. She told me she sometimes felt isolated at the top. I told her I sometimes felt invisible in the middle. We met somewhere in between. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't reckless. It was intentional. Months later, we returned to the same restaurant. Same table. Same window. "This feels less terrifying," I said. "Speak for yourself," she teased. Though her smile was warmed, I reached into my jacket pocket and felt the small box waiting there. "I almost didn't come that night," I admitted. "I know," she said. I almost didn't either. I took a breath. My blind date turned out to be my CEO, I said softly, and it turned out to be the best surprise of my life. Her eyes widened slightly as I slid the ring onto the table between us. Rebecca Sterling, I continued, my voice steadier than I expected. Will you marry me? This time there was no hesitation. Yes, and just like that, the woman I once tried so hard to avoid became the person I never wanted to live without.